Breakfast at Tiffany's with Audrey Hepburn and George Papard.
Oh,
you know.
Well, hello everybody. Hey guys, caught me there watching a little bit of last week's episode of the Writing Lair. So, welcome back. Welcome to this week's episode. Another informative and exciting episode of the Writing Lair. If this is your first time here, my name is Brady Longmore. I'm a self-published author. I publish books about horror, in the horror genre, and action, adventure, romance, and fantasy are my main interests when it comes to writing. But this YouTube channel focuses on reading, writing, and scary stuff. So if you're into, mysterious, the darker side of things and, ghost stories, Bigfoot, the paranormal, then, we probably have kindred spirit, and you should probably subscribe to my channel. So help me grow. I mentioned that I'm a self-published author, and I have 4 books out right now, and I am currently working on the 5th. So anyway, on this channel, I like to talk about, as I said, reading and writing, book tips, writing tips, and I like to suggest books and stuff, and just generally have a conversation about the things that interest me. So anyway, I was checking out my channel, and I realized that this week I actually lost a subscriber. I lost a subscriber. That's not how this is supposed to work, people. Well, that's too bad for that person, because this week's episode, I realized, I think it's been a while since we talked about and shared a true paranormal story, a true ghost story. And this particular ghost story happened to yours truly. It happened to me. And I'd like to share it with you in this episode of The Writing Lair. So without further ado, let's get going. Okay, so anyway, as I said, I do like to, if you're tuning in, subscribe and help me grow this channel. And typically, what I like to do is I'll talk about writing techniques, and different people ask me questions about writing and publishing, and I like to address those questions, and especially coming through the angle of self-publishing. So stay tuned if you're into that. If you want to hear about that, go check out some of my other videos where I talk about it. But I don't want to just sit here and talk about writing. I also like to just discuss the kinds of things that interest me. So Bigfoot, UFOs, ghosts, anything kind of paranormal and mysterious, I like to talk about. And on top of that, I like to, sometimes I try, it's my new thing, I try to end each episode with a book recommendation or a movie or show. So far, it's just been books. I've got so many books to recommend. Anyway, so this story happened to me. It was in 2000. Me and my wife were pretty much newlyweds. We'd been married for a few years, and we were expecting our first child. And part of that was leaving our wild, childless, free days behind and buckling down, getting a little more responsible, and we bought a house, a little farmhouse out in the country, in the little hamlet of Iona, Idaho. About 1,000 people at the time. Population 1,500, I think. It's still small, but it has grown a lot in the last 20 years. Anyway, we bought this little farmhouse out on the outskirts of town, surrounded by farm fields, and the house was built in the 1800s, 1898, I believe. And we were so excited, just thrilled to be actually owning a house. I remember at the time being kind of scared of the responsibilities that seemed to be crashing down. Here I was, a young guy about to become a dad, and just that responsibility, and that I really was feeling the pressure. I was really excited too. Don't get me wrong, but those of you who've been through it know what I'm talking about. And here we just bought this house, so there's a new obligation. Now I've got a house to take care of. I've got the payment to make, maintenance, and all that. But so I got a pregnant wife she was fixing to deliver in a few months. So we were, kind of trying to get this house ready to welcome a new baby. And I will admit, the fact that it was an old house, and being me, who I am, I had questions. I wondered. I was like, hey, is this, is it possible this house could be haunted? Think of all the things that have gone on in this home over the years, and we didn't know the history much. Anyway, so to get right into it, we'd been living in the house for probably just a few days, I imagine. And we're fix my hat here. My hair's coming out of the hole. We'd been living there for a few days, and it was an old house, so it had this kind of a living room, and then there was our bedroom was right off the living room, and then it was small, big, kind of a big bedroom, but it was the same size as the living room. But I remember the way our bed is I was closest to the bedroom door, and so with the door open, you could see right into the living room. And we would leave the door open. There was no reason to close it. It was just us. And it was early in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. But I just remember I'd been asleep for a while. And I rolled onto my left side. And by rolling onto my left side, that put me in a position to be looking out the door. And a lot of times when I'm asleep, when I'm rolling, I wake up. So I roll onto my left side, I open my eyes, and there's this little girl just standing there, just on the other side of the door, the threshold, kind of in the living room, but right at the door. This little girl is standing there. She's 6, 7 years old, maybe. And she's just looking at me, and she didn't look threatening or anything, just a little girl. She was wearing a long white, kind of like a nightgown, like with a ruffle around the neck and ruffled, it was long sleeved with like kind of ruffled, bunched up cuffs on the wrists. And I remember thinking, she looks like straight out of Little House on the Prairie, except she didn't have a bonnet. And she was solid. She was substantial. She didn't look see-through or anything. I was like, yeah, right. She looked just very real, from the top of her head right down to her little bare feet standing there on the floor. And I wasn't scared. I was just curious. And my first thought was some neighbor kid, which we didn't have a ton of neighbors yet. There was not very many houses around, and some little neighbor kid must have got into the house somehow. Maybe she was sleepwalking. And somehow we didn't lock the door, and there's this little girl now standing in my house at 4 a.m. And I was about to ask her who she was. I was thinking, well, we gotta get this kid home. We find out her name and see if we can find out who she is. So I wasn't scared at all. I wasn't thinking ghost at all. I was just curious and a little bit taken back, like, who's this kid? Before I could say anything, before I could open my mouth, just the thought was coming into my mind, who is this? I need to ask her who she is. She kind of lazily just kind of raised a hand up, like waved, and then she just kind of smiled and said, bye. And when she did that, she just kind of faded, just dissipated like steam, and she was just gone. I didn't even know what to think. It was I still wasn't scared. I was just confused. I was like, what? What did I just see? What was that? Am I awake even? Was this a dream? I know I was awake. Because I remember I rolled over onto my right side thinking, what was that? And as I rolled on over onto my side, out of the corner of my eye, so I'm rolling, out of the corner of my eye, I see something dart into the room, up near the door frame, it was a black shape, and the only way I can describe it is imagine like a black blanket flying in to the room, and it was blacker than black, like, just black. It flew into the room and went up to the ceiling. We had vaulted ceilings, like 10-foot high ceilings. It went up to the room, and I was terrified now. Now I'm scared. I don't know what that was, but its presence instantly made me lock up, like I went into this almost like every muscle locked up. I was laying on my side, and I could see it out of the corner of my eye, and it was kind of spreading out up there by the ceiling, and then it started to come down, and it was gonna cover over the top of us, and I just got so I was paralyzed. And as it descended down, I somehow just willed myself to break free of this like hold. It was a paralysis, like electrical shock. Like, if you get shocked, your muscles lock, you can't move. That's how it felt. Like there's this buzzing sound in my ears. Well, I was able to just mentally break out of that, and I was able to roll over and up onto my back and face whatever it was. And when I did that, it was gone. And I just laid there. I laid there, looking around, and now I know I'm awake. Now I really know, okay, I'm awake. And I eventually just went to sleep, and I got up the next day and wondered what that was. And to this day, I wonder what it was. I don't know. I'm not, I'm not an expert. I don't know what that experience was. At the time, I had never heard of sleep paralysis. Since then, I've heard of it. I've seen some documentaries on it, and I'm pretty sure that what I was experiencing was a sleep paralysis kind of a experience. And I'm not saying that proves it was nothing, because I'm not ready to say that sleep paralysis isn't a paranormal experience. But science is willing at least to admit that sleep paralysis is a real thing. Now, why people see things and the experiences they have during it that's up for speculation. But I know that's probably what it was, but I don't know what I saw. The little girl, to this day, I'm positive I was awake. Is it possible I was asleep? Is it possible this whole thing was kind of a lucid dream? Definitely it's possible. But I swear I was awake. We're in an old house. I've never known what it was. I've always been convinced I experienced something that night. The little girl wasn't threatening, but the black shape in the bedroom sure felt threatening. So I don't know if the two experiences are related somehow. They have to be, right? But one was not threatening at all, and then the other, I don't know. Maybe it clicked and opened a doorway to something else when I saw the girl. I don't know. Now I'm just rambling, and I shouldn't do that because I'm recording and trying to make a decent video. Anyway, that's a personal experience of mine. Let me know in the comments if you've had any experiences like that. Sleep paralysis, strange, visitations at night like that. I'd be interested to hear anything you've had, any experiences you've had like that, and or even stories of loved ones that have told you. I know we all know somebody that has seen something weird like that, right? I never thought it would be me, but that's one of mine. I have a couple more like kind of weird things that maybe I'm sure I'll share eventually. But anyway, that's my ghost story. And like all the things that have happened to me, they're always up for question. Like, well, did it really happen? Was I asleep? Was I seeing things? Nothing definitive. Nothing I can just place my finger on it and say, I know what I saw. Anyway, hey, I hope you liked this episode, and that's it for the ghost story. I'd like to move on at this point. I'll give you guys a little update on what's going on. Summertime's coming around, and I'm getting ready to run a sale on The Fifth Corner, book one of my... I've been advertising. I've been doing some ad campaigns. So if you follow me on Facebook, I'd just like to ask you a favor. If you see an ad, and the way to recognize one of my ads is it's usually a picture, and in one of the corners you will see a little logo, a little Amazon logo, and it will say as available on Amazon Kindle or something like that. So if you see one of these types of ads or images being shared by me, that's me advertising. I'm advertising. I'm trying to get people out there. I've had a pretty successful one running right now on Facebook for The Summoning. Some of you have probably seen it, but the favor I'd like to ask is if you do see one of these ads floating around, do me a favor and throw a like on there. It helps it get spread around. It helps. It's called social proof. It's an advertising, it's a marketing thing. So if people see likes and comments, they're more apt to click on it and check it out. So if you are following me on Facebook and you see one of these ads floating around, throw a like on there, throw a comment in there, and it helps me out a lot if you can do that. So, but yeah, that's been fun. I'm getting ready to run one. I've been doing the summoning all month, and it's been doing good. But that particular ad is starting to fizzle, so I'll probably pull it and let it rest for a while. And then I'm getting ready to run one for The Fifth Corner. And I might run it on sale, like 99 cents or something. Try to boost the whole series. So that's for those of you who are into self-publishing, and a little author marketing tip is often you will charge like a 99 cents or even free download for your first book in a series, in the hopes that people will buy it and love it, and then they'll pay. Then they'll drop their money for the rest of the series. So we're gonna see how that works for the Fifth Corner. I have never run it on sale before. I've never put it on sale, so probably gonna do that in a few weeks. So we'll see how that goes. Still working on book 5. Still typing away. I made some headway the other day, and feeling good about it. Well, like I said before, it's kind of a, at the end, it becomes more difficult to, the endings for me. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, putting things in place and making sure everything is right. So, but I'm making headway. I am working on it, and I hope to get it done soon. So, okay. So, book recommendations. This week's book recommendation, I would like to talk a little bit about vampires. Now, I am not scared of vampires. Vampires don't do it for me. Dracula, especially Count Dracula with the widow's peak and the, I'd like to drink your blood, and all the cliches and the turning into a bat and all that. It's never done it for me. I've never been scared of vampires. Okay? Dracula doesn't scare me. I don't know why. It just never scared me. But that being said, if you're like me and you've given up on vampires, especially like, I'm going to turn this hat around. This is getting ridiculous. Okay. If you're like me and you've kind of like, you're like this with vampires, then there's this book about this girl that falls in love with, I'm just kidding. I would like to recommend to you that you read Salem's Lot by, none other than Stephen King. It's one of his first novels, I believe. It came out in the 70s. but a lot of you have probably seen the movie that came out in the 70s, which it really needs to be remade. I'm not a big remake fan, but Salem's Lot could really stand a remake. Maybe it's being worked on. I wouldn't be surprised in this day and age when everything gets a remake, reboot. But the book, go get it on Audible. It's or read it, download it. But I listened to it on Audible, and it takes the vampire genre, the whole vampire genre, and makes it scary again. I thought the book was terrifying. It's really good. It's really well done. So if you want to give vampires one more chance, and it's an intense, good vampire book, and so go pick up a copy of Stephen King's A Salem's Lot, and be scared of vampires all over again, because there will be no sparkly boys giving you piggyback rides to the woods in Salem's Lot. Anyway, okay, guys, that's going to do it for me this week. Thank you for joining me. I'd like to thank you for those of you who have subscribed, and those of you who liked and giving me all the support and that you have, and I appreciate all the encouragement. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this episode, and we'll make another video as soon as possible. But until then, I wish you all happy reading.